Mia and I had been together for 4 years, building a life inside a cramped Brooklyn apartment filled with her artwork and my stacks of books. Things weren't perfect. Her late nights at the gallery and my long hours at the newspaper often kept us apart, but I believed we were steady, or at least I thought we were. That evening, we stood at a friend's rooftop party, the city skyline glowing beneath us, while music pulsed through the crowded space. Mia seemed distant all night, laughing a little too loudly with strangers, her phone lighting up more than usual. Then, as I handed her a drink, she looked straight into my eyes and said, "I'm with someone else tonight, Ben." Her voice was calm, almost challenging, as if she were testing how I would respond. The words struck me heavily, the rooftop noise fading into a dull background hum. I searched her face, expecting a joke, but there was no humor there, only a quiet dare. That's when I noticed him across the crowd, a man from her gallery with a sharp jawline and confident smirk, watching us closely. My chest tightened, but I stayed still. I leaned closer and spoke in a low, steady voice. "Then go be with him, Mia, but don't expect me to wait." Her lips parted, surprise replacing her bold expression, and for once she had nothing to say. I didn't shout or cause a scene. I set the drink on a nearby table, gave a small nod, and walked away through the crowd. Her words weren't just honesty, they were a decision, and I refused to beg her to take it back. I could feel her eyes following me, but I never turned around. The guy, Elliot, I later learned, stood straighter as I passed, like he had won something. I ignored him. My heart pounded, yet my steps stayed steady, already planning how to leave her life behind. By the time I reached the street, my phone buzzed with her messages. "Ben, wait. I didn't mean it like that. Let's talk." I didn't answer. I walked home, the city's constant hum filling the silence around my racing thoughts. 4 years of shared rent, late-night confessions, and her paint-stained hands against my skin felt erased by a single sentence. I wasn't angry yet. I was certain. She had made her choice, and I wasn't going to play along. At the apartment, I packed a bag with clothes, my laptop, and a toothbrush, then left her key on the counter. The next morning, she came to the coffee shop where I was staying with a friend, her eyes red and voice trembling. "I messed up," she said, tears falling. "It was just a stupid moment. I don't want him." I took a slow sip of coffee, letting her words sit between us. "You looked me in the eye and chose him, Mia," I replied evenly. "You can't undo that just because you regret it." Her face collapsed, her usual confidence replaced by a silence I had never seen before. I didn't ask for details, whether she'd slept with him or what the night meant, because it no longer mattered. Her words on that rooftop had drawn a line, and my response had burned the bridge between us. I moved out that same week, staying with my friend Jake while searching for a new place to live. Mia's calls slowly became less frequent, her messages shifting from desperate to quiet. Friends later told me she had left the gallery, maybe to avoid Elliot, maybe to escape her own choices. I didn't care enough to ask. I focused on work, pitching new stories, running harder during my morning jogs, rebuilding a life that no longer revolved around her. The pain remained, sharp on some days and dull on others, but I refused to let it define me. I began writing again, not only for the paper, but for myself, filling notebooks with thoughts I had buried during our years together. I felt lighter, as if I had released a weight I never realized I was carrying. Mia tried to reach out again a month later, leaving a voicemail saying she needed closure. I never called back. Her words that night were not just betrayal. They were a revelation, showing me a side of her I had ignored, reckless and willing to hurt me to feel something different. My response was not about pride. It was about self-worth. I was not her fallback, her safety net, or her second choice. Now I live in a new apartment, small but mine, with a view of the city that does not remind me of her. I do not hate Mia. I simply do not need her anymore. That night on the rooftop, her confession was meant to shock me, to start a fight or a chase. Instead, I gave her my truth. I was finished, and that left her speechless, not because I was cruel, but because I was finally free. Sometimes I remember her eyes, wide and stunned as I walked away. I wonder whether she is still searching for whatever she believed she would find with him. But I am not looking back. I am moving forward, one step at a time, building a life that belongs only to me. She chose him,